They lied to you. WWE lied to you. The commentators lied to you. And the saddest part? Most of you sitting right now watching this video, you believed every single word of it. You sat there on your couch, popcorn in hand, watching Monday Night Raw, and you let them play you like a fiddle. But not today. Not on this channel. Because today, we are ripping the curtain wide open, and we are exposing every single layer of the Roman Reigns parking lot mystery. And trust me when I tell you, what happened backstage on Raw is 10 times more explosive than what they showed you on your screen. So before you scroll past this video, before you skip ahead, I need you to do one thing: drop a comment right now and tell me, did you actually see this coming? Because I promise you, by the end of this video, your jaw is going to be on the floor. And if you think you already know the full story, you don't. Not even close. Let's go. Segment 1: Setting the stage, the parking lot that changed everything. Let's go all the way back and build this thing from the ground up, because context is everything in wrestling, and if you don't understand how we got here, you won't understand just how massive this moment truly was. For months WWE had been playing a dangerous game. There was a shadow lurking in the corridors of Monday Night Raw. A figure dressed in all black, hooded, masked, identity completely concealed. This wasn't some random run-in. This wasn't a cheap pop. This was a calculated, methodical, surgical strike operation targeting specific people, and every single week, the mystery deepened. The fans were going absolutely insane trying to figure out who this was. The internet wrestling community was divided. Reddit threads were blowing up. X was on fire. Every single week, a new theory. Every single week, a new name thrown into the mix. And right in the middle of all of this chaos stood one man. One man who had seen more betrayal, more manipulation, more political chess moves than anyone else on that roster. One man who had been lied to so many times by so many people that his trust issues had trust issues. Roman Reigns. The original tribal chief. The OTC. Now here's what you need to understand about Roman in this moment in time. This was not the Roman Reigns from the Bloodline glory days, sitting on a throne surrounded by USO brothers and Paul Heyman whispering in his ear. This was a different Roman. A Roman who had been through the fire of betrayal with his own family. A Roman who had watched his empire crumble from the inside. A Roman who had won the 2026 Royal Rumble and re-established himself as the most dangerous man in WWE, but also a man who had unfinished business, unresolved anger, and a pair of eyes sharp enough to see through any disguise. So when word started spreading backstage that something was going to go down in the parking lot area before Raw even went live, before the pyro, before the music, before a single camera officially rolled for broadcast, the people who knew. This was going to be different. This wasn't going to be a segment. This was going to be a moment. Segment 2: The Backstage Confrontation, what the cameras didn't show you. Here's where it gets real. Here's where we separate the people who watched the show from the people who actually understand what happened. The parking lot at a Raw event is not glamorous. Forget what you think backstage at WWE looks like. We're talking concrete floors, bad lighting, equipment trucks, production cables everywhere, security personnel, catering carts. It is controlled chaos. And on this particular night, that parking lot became the setting for one of the most intense, most personal, most brutally real confrontations in recent Raw history. Roman Reigns arrived not with fanfare, not with a limousine entrance like the old days. He arrived like a man on a mission. People backstage described the energy around him that night as suffocating. Nobody wanted to make eye contact. Even veteran locker room members who have seen everything in this business took a step back. When Roman Reigns walks into a room with that look on his face, that cold, quiet, tribal chief stare, you move out of the way. And then it happened. The mystery man was there. In the parking lot backstage. Before the show. Now, WWE's cameras were rolling, they always are, but what aired on television was a heavily edited version of events. What actually transpired in that parking lot went on significantly longer, was significantly more heated, and revealed things that the produced television package smoothed over to protect the ongoing storyline. But we're not here to protect storylines. We're here to give you the truth. Roman didn't just confront this person. Roman cornered them. And the confrontation that followed wasn't scripted in the way you might think. Yes, WWE is a scripted product. Yes, the outcomes are predetermined. But the energy in that moment, the words exchanged, the real-life history between these two individuals, the unspoken weight of everything that had happened between them, that was as real as it gets in professional wrestling. Roman looked at this person, took the mask off figuratively and literally, and said, in effect, I knew it was you. I've always known it was you. And now everybody else is going to know too. Segment 3: The Identity Revealed, Seth Rollins and the Layers of the Lie. Let's talk about Seth Rollins. Because that's who we're really talking about here. And if you weren't paying attention, if you weren't connecting the dots going all the way back to Survivor Series War Games 2025, then a lot of this probably felt like it came out of nowhere. But it didn't. Nothing in WWE's current creative era comes out of nowhere. Triple H and his team are playing the long game, and the Seth Rollins Mystery Man story was one of the longest, most patient pieces of storytelling WWE has done in years. At Survivor Series War Games 2025, a masked figure scaled the cage. Think about that visual for a second. In the middle of one of the most chaotic, violent, high-stakes match types in all of professional wrestling, a War Games match, somebody nobody could identify had the audacity, the nerve, to scale that cage and interfere. And this mystery figure cost CM Punk's team the match. Using a super kick and a stomp, moves that are identical to Seth Rollins' signature offense, the masked man handed the Vision the victory. The internet exploded. Everyone had a theory. Austin Theory was named. Multiple reports confirmed that WWE was actually rotating different performers under the mask to throw off the physique watchers, the style analysts, the obsessive fans who study every movement frame by frame. Triple H was using multiple wrestlers under that hood to keep the secret as long as possible. That's how badly they wanted to protect this reveal. That's how massive they knew the payoff was going to be. And then week after week on Raw, the attacks continued. The Vision Braun Breakers faction was getting picked apart systematically. Logan Paul, Austin Theory, the entire faction was being hunted. And nobody could stop it because nobody knew who they were dealing with. Until Roman Reigns figured it out. See, that's the piece that matters most in the context of this parking lot moment. Roman Reigns, with everything he knows about Seth Rollins' years of alliance, years of betrayal, years of watching this man operate, Roman recognized something the cameras didn't catch, something the production team didn't pick up on, something that only someone who has stood in the ring with Seth Rollins hundreds of times would notice. A mannerism, a stance, something in the way this person carried themselves in that parking lot that made Roman absolutely certain. And when he looked that masked figure dead in the eyes and said, "I know who you are," that wasn't a line. That was Roman Reigns operating on a level above everyone else in that building. Segment for the history between Roman and Seth, why this moment hits different. You want to understand why this parking lot confrontation hits so differently than any other backstage encounter on Raw in recent memory? You need to understand the history. And not just the surface level history that the casual fan knows. We're going deep. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins go all the way back. The Shield, the most dominant faction in WWE history. Roman, Seth, and Dean Ambrose, now Jon Moxley, tearing through the entire roster together. They were brothers. Not in the bloodline sense, not in the kayfabe family sense. They were brothers in the truest sense that professional wrestling can create. They traveled together, they bled together, they built each other up. And then Seth Rollins set Roman Reigns on fire. Literally and figuratively. When the Shield imploded, when Seth turned on his brothers with a steel chair on that Raw episode that fans still talk about, it wasn't just a wrestling moment. It was personal. It was devastating. And it set the trajectory for both of their careers for years to come. Roman became the face of WWE, the top guy, the one who carried the company on his back during some of the most difficult periods in recent history. Seth went on his own journey, becoming a multi-time champion, reinventing himself creatively multiple times, building a legacy that is unquestionably Hall of Fame worthy. But the tension between them never fully went away. It never could. Because when you've been that close to someone, when you've trusted someone the way those two trusted each other inside the Shield, and that trust gets shattered, it leaves a mark that never heals all the way. So when Roman Reigns is standing in a parking lot, staring at what he believes is Seth Rollins behind a mask, you have to understand the weight of that moment is not just about the current storyline. It's carrying the weight of over a decade of history. It's carrying the Shield. It's carrying every single moment of betrayal and triumph and competition between these two men. That parking lot confrontation wasn't just about who the mystery man was. It was about Roman Reigns confronting a ghost from his own past. Segment 5: The Aftermath, what this means for WrestleMania 42 and beyond. Now let's talk about what this means going forward, because if you think the parking lot moment was just a standalone event, you haven't been paying attention to the bigger picture. Seth Rollins was eventually officially revealed at Elimination Chamber 2026 as the Mystery Man, the former leader of the Vision who had turned on his own faction and was systematically dismantling the group he helped create. The storytelling logic is airtight. Seth built the Vision. Seth watched the Vision operate without him. And Seth, being Seth Rollins, could not let that stand. But here's the thing. Here's what nobody is talking about enough. Roman Reigns knew first. Roman Reigns, in that parking lot on Raw, already had the answer that the entire WWE universe was scrambling to find. While Adam Pearce was holding press conferences and Braun Breaker was destroying ringside equipment in frustration and the entire Vision faction was running around paranoid, Roman Reigns already knew. And that matters. Because it means that whatever comes next between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, and make absolutely no mistake, something is coming between these two. Roman holds the power. Roman holds the information. Roman was the one who stepped forward in that parking lot while everyone else was hiding, while everyone else was speculating, while everyone else was playing checkers. Roman Reigns was playing chess. And now, with WrestleMania 42 on the horizon, with Roman Reigns holding a Royal Rumble victory, with CM Punk and Roman Reigns brawling through announce tables on Raw and Message, the entire WWE landscape is shifting beneath our feet in real time. The parking lot confrontation wasn't the end of anything, it was the beginning of the next chapter. Think about where this goes. Think about Roman Reigns, a man who just exposed the mystery, a man who just called a shot in a darkened parking lot when nobody else had the guts to, stepping into WrestleMania season as possibly the most dangerous player on the board. Not just because of his physical dominance, not just because of his championship history, but because of his intelligence, because of his instincts, because of his ability to see through the fog when everyone else is lost in it. That is a Roman Reigns operating at his absolute peak. Segment 6: the real question nobody is asking. But here's where I want to leave you. Here's the thought that's been sitting in my brain since that Raw went off the air, and I haven't heard anyone else in the wrestling media ask this question. If Roman Reigns knew if he recognized Seth Rollins in that parking lot before the official revelation, what did Roman do with that information? Did he immediately go to WWE management? Did he keep it to himself? Did he use it as leverage? Did he make a private deal with Seth Rollins that we don't know about yet? Because knowing Roman Reigns' character, knowing the way the tribal chief operates, he doesn't give away information for free. He doesn't tip his hand unless there's a strategic reason to do so. Roman Reigns confronting the mystery man in that parking lot was calculated. Every single thing Roman Reigns does is calculated. So the question isn't just who the mystery man was. The question is, what does Roman Reigns get out of knowing first? What deal has been made in the shadows that we haven't seen yet? What bomb is sitting under this entire WrestleMania season storyline that Roman Reigns is holding the detonator to? I want to know what you think. Scroll down right now and drop your theory in the comments. I am going to read every single one of them. Drop a like on this video if you believe Roman is playing a longer game that we haven't seen yet. And if you're new to this channel, subscribe and hit the bell, because I promise you, Ring Rumble 1 is the only place where we actually dig into these stories instead of just reading you the results. Closing the fire continues. Here's the bottom line. The Roman Reigns parking lot moment on Raw was not just a backstage encounter. It was not just a cool TV segment. It was a declaration. It was the original tribal chief reminding every single person in that building, and every single one of you watching at home, that he is always 3 steps ahead. That while everyone else is reacting, Roman Reigns is already acting. Seth Rollins was eventually unmasked for the world to see. But Roman Reigns unmasked him first in a cold, dark, empty parking lot, away from the cameras, away from the crowd, away from the spectacle, and that is the most Roman Reigns thing that has ever happened. They don't pay Roman to entertain you. They pay Roman to win. And Roman Reigns won that parking lot long before the rest of the world caught up. Stay locked into Ring Rumble 1. The road to WrestleMania 42 is just getting started, and I promise you, it's only going to get more explosive from here. Peace.